The fifth question that I get is really pertinent to today. We have lots of information in the media right now about cortisol, and is cortisol good? Is cortisol bad? How do I lower my cortisol? So how do I lower my cortisol level is a question that I'm getting a lot more frequently lately. Now, there are ways to lower cortisol, but the first question that I ask my patients in response is, do you know what your cortisol level is? So a lot of times we don't know. And so I would preface that conversation with, I think it's reasonable to have your cortisol tested. And my preference in my practice is to look at a salivary cortisol and to test cortisol at multiple points during the day, because there can be variations in cortisol throughout the day, with a normal cortisol curve having high cortisol first thing in the morning upon awakening that comes down through mid-morning and kind of tapers off throughout the day and comes to a low point around 9 p.m., 10 p.m. so that your cortisol is low in preparation for bedtime and falling asleep. So that's the trend of what a normal cortisol curve would look like for somebody who is awake during the day. Now, people who work night shift or are on different schedules, their cortisol curve may be different from that. So, but optimally, that's what would happen for somebody who is awake during the day. Now, a few things that I see happening are people who are under high stress, especially occupational stress. They'll have a really high cortisol right before they go to work and a really high cortisol when they come home from work. And for some individuals who've experienced prolonged periods of intense stress or several repetitive stressful events over the course of a period of time during their lives, they may have a very low flat cortisol that doesn't ever really rise much above baseline throughout the day. And so knowing what's happening with your cortisol can really help to direct treatment and help your practitioner come up with a comprehensive plan to help you get your cortisol back into the normal range. And this is really important. Cortisol is an important hormone that helps us to respond physiologically to stress. So lowering a normal cortisol is not helpful, and then raising a high cortisol is not helpful. So knowing what your numbers are first will help you decide what course of action needs to be taken to modify your cortisol so that it's consistent with good health and good functioning.